What is going on, YouTube? My name is Tommy. You probably know me as Rivet, and I am your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying, flyest looking team on YouTube. And we are here with the start of a brand new season of Draft League content in the NPBA, the Kanto division. This is going to be a fantastic season. We have an amazing team to break down. So without any further ado, welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are here breaking down our team for the third season of the NPBA in the Kanto division. Little background on this league: it's a point-based draft. I had 110 points to draft 10 to 12 Mons with a really interesting tier list. And going into this, I had the 5th pick, so I didn't really have a plan going into this. I kind of just wanted to grab the best available thing and kind of work out a draft plan from there. We had some really strong stuff on the board: Dragapult, Q1 Black, Mega Diancie, Tornadus, Therian. A lot of those went really early. So with my 5th pick, I was scouring, and I decided to splurge and go for the highest point cost, an 18-pointer straight out of the gate, which I thought was totally worth it because, frankly, you don't see this a lot, you don't see it every day, and it's an absolute monster. So with my first pick, I decided to go with Urshifu Single Strike. This thing is an absolute beast. I've used it once before, and let me tell you, it's banned a lot of the times for a reason. 2 words to describe this thing: Wicked Blow. An absolutely amazing dark type move that always crits. Base 80 power, coming off an 130 base attack stat and stab, oftentimes boosted up by a choice band. It hits like an absolute truck. Dark fighting typing, close combat is another amazing stab move. It's great coverage moves, stuff like the elemental punches, poison jab. It can U-turn for momentum, and it can sucker punch for priority. It's got very good natural bulk, base 100 in both HP and defense, and a very good speed tier at base 97, allowing it to outpace big breakers like Darmanitan or Kyurem, something like that. That's going to sit at base 95. So I'm incredibly stoked to have gotten Urshifu Single Strike. I really didn't think it was going to stay till pick 5 just because it is so strong. And Wicked Blow is just such a spammable move. There's not a whole lot that switches into Urshifu, especially with the choice band. Wicked Blow, close combat, like Iron Head or Poison Jab, and Sucker Punch or U-Turn is really all you need. So I'm very excited to use Urshifu again. We got Tai Long over here, having chosen the path of darkness. So moving on in the draft, I wanted to, hopefully grab something that would complement Urshifu and work out, try to bring some more power. And at the end of the second round, I was looking around, and there was a Mon that I really didn't think had a plan or a place sitting there at the second round. So I had been planning on drafting this in another draft, the SDF that's coming up. And I kind of just saw this sitting here, and I was like, there's no time like the present. So I decided with my second pick to nab Aegis Slash. This thing is an absolute beast, with the stance changeability obviously being its big gimmick. Able to switch from an incredibly defensive Pokemon with base 140 in both of its defenses to an incredibly offensive Pokemon with 140 in both of its attacks. It's a fantastic Mon. Steel and Ghost is an incredible dual stab, and it's a great defensive typing, giving it key immunities to stuff like Poison and Fighting and Normal, which is fantastic. It can set up in a variety of ways. It can autotomize, it can Swords Dance, or both. It can run Choice Band or Choice Specs, very easily with moves like Shadow Ball, Flash Cannon, Close Combat, Gyro Ball, Iron Head. It can Shadow Sneak, and it's just an incredible Mon. You really have to prep hard for Aegis Slash every week so that you can take it down or survive hits from it, because its dual stab is just so strong. Close combat complements it incredibly well, and you really never know what it's going to be. One of those Mons like Dragapult, where it can run physical or special or just defensive so incredibly well that you kind of have to prep for both or hope you just guess and get it right. So I'm very excited to use Aegis Slash. I have high hopes for this Mon. So moving into the third round, I wanted to try to grab some more bulk, maybe round out my team a little bit. But then I saw a certain Mon just sitting there for 16 points, and all of that flew out the window. So it moves me closer to my Fairy Dragon Steel Core, which is a good thing, I guess. But with my third pick, I took Tapu Lele. It was just kind of sitting here for 16 points, and I was like, that's kind of weird. In round 3, again, like Urshifu, it's an incredibly strong wall breaker that doesn't have a lot of switch-ins. Psychic and Fairy is an amazing type, especially with the Psychic Surge ability, boosting up its stab Psychics and Psyshocks. Moonblast is an amazing move. It's got great coverage with moves like Focus Blast, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, and Shadow Ball. It can run Calm Mind 3 attacks. It runs Scarf and Specs incredibly well. It also gets moves like Iron Defense, which it can run alongside Drain and Kiss and Stored Power for a little bit of a cheesy set. But otherwise, it's an amazing wall breaker. It's an amazing cleaner. It does kind of hinder Urshifu and Aegislash a little bit because the Psychic Surge will make it so that I can't Sucker Punch or Shadow Sneak when that's up. But otherwise, Lele in the third round for 16 is just incredible. In conjunction with Urshifu, there's like no switch-ins to the two of those. They do sit at a similar speed tier, which is kind of jank, but it's something I'm totally okay with. I'm willing to make that sacrifice to grab Lele on the team because it's an incredibly powerful mon. I've used it once before, and it bodies teams. So moving on to my fourth pick again, this is where I really wanted to grab some defense. I wanted to start on my Fire Water Grass core. So I really wanted to grab a bulky water. I was looking at Alolan Mola. I wanted to grab some Regenerator just because I thought that would have made the team a little bit scummy to deal with. But then again, the monkey drafter in my brain got control of me once again because it was sitting here again for 14 points with no complex bans. So I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm having fun. So I grabbed Drakofish. Drakofish is sitting here for only 14 points in the fourth round. And again, this thing is an absolute monster. A lot of the time, it's banned. Again, like Urshifu, 2 words. Vicious Rend. Incredible move. Base 85 power water move that doubles its power when it goes first. And oh my god, it has no switch-ins essentially, except for Water Absorbers. Water Absorbers hard shut down Drakovish. But, a Seismitoad isn't exactly going to want to take a Specs Psychic from Tapu Lele. So Vish is an incredible breaker. It's an amazing cleaner with the Sand Rush ability. Or just, Choice Band, Strong Jaw, Vicious Rend, mauls teams. It's got very respectable natural bulk with base 90, 100, and 80. And okay speed at 75, but in the sand, that definitely rockets it up. It runs Choice Band incredibly well. It can run Choice Scarf if I don't want to run Sand, if I want to run Strong Jaw. And it can run like Assault Vest very well. And a thing I like about Drakovish on this team is that my front three are so strong already, and Drakovish does have very good defenses. If I want to put Drakovish into more of a bulky water or bulky dragon kind of role, I can totally do that because I won't be sacrificing cleaning or wall breaking power on the team. I can run something like a Choice Banded Urshifu that's gonna just smash through teams anyway, and then I can have maybe like a water absorbing Drakovish, switch it on Scald super easily so I don't have to worry about getting a burn on something, because it does have a fantastic defensive typing in water and dragon. So loving Drakovish for this team. My front four, incredibly powerful so far. I don't have any hazard control. I don't have any bulk, essentially. But I think it's worth it. These 4 are just absolutely insane. The 4 Horsemen, I'm calling these. So moving on with my 5th pick, this is where I actually really needed to grab some bulk and try to round out the team. I still wanted to go with the Regenerator plan. So with my 5th pick, I decided to go with the Moongus. Moongus is an incredibly annoying Pokemon, a very good Spore user with the Regenerator ability, 2 of the most annoying things in the game in my opinion. Grass and Poison typing, moving me closer to my Fire Water Grass core. And it's just so bulky and annoying. Base 114 HP is fantastic in conjunction with its very respectable defenses and Regenerator. It runs Black Sludge and Rocky Helmet very well with moves like Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, Foul Play, Toxic, and then obviously Spore. I'm liking Moongus a lot because even though it doesn't have a move like U-Turn, obviously, Spore is just such a great move to generate momentum for my big 4 hitters. Come in, force him to switch out if he's got a Safety Goggles Mon or a Grass type. I can make a prediction, or just having something asleep lets me play the field completely differently. So I'm really liking the Moongus on this team. I haven't used it before. I hope I can use it well. And it's definitely just going to throw a wrench into my opponent's plans. Having to plan for those big 4 hitters and for just a Moongus being obnoxious is going to be a really tough task to handle. So going into my next pick, I definitely wanted to try to grab some more bulk. I was looking at Alolan Mola for a more defined bulky water, but that got taken. So I decided to go straight for sand for my Drakovish. I grabbed Gigalith with my 6th pick. Works very nicely in conjunction with a Moongus. They have pretty good synergy, and it's just a beast. I got this thing for like 7 points, which I believe is a pretty big discount. 135 attack is nothing to sneeze at. Even uninvested, Stone Edges are hitting very, very hard. Earthquakes are hitting as hard as well. And then with base 85 HP, 130 defense, and 80 special defense boosted up by Sand, it's very, very bulky. It's a very good special wall. It takes physical hits pretty well just because it is so naturally bulky. It's an incredibly reliable stealth rocker, which I otherwise didn't have before. It runs Toxic very well. And otherwise, just Stone Edge, Earthquake. It can run Explosion to catch something off guard. But otherwise, Gigalith is just an absolute beast. I'm incredibly excited to use Gigalith. I haven't used it before. And obviously, just having Sand for Drakovish is incredibly, incredibly good. It pressures super, super hard in Team Preview. Just having Drakovish in Sand, it's something you got to watch out for every single match. It's going to make my opponent's prep a lot harder to deal with Vish and Sand. So Very excited for Gigalith. Big Henry over here. He's looking fantastic. And so with my next pick, I wanted to grab a little bit more defined speed. I wanted some removal. I didn't have any of that yet, and I wanted a flying type. So next up, I decided to go with Tornadus, Revelation 19 over here. An incredible mon, especially for 11 points. This thing does everything. Base 111 speed is fantastic speed tier, then very good mixed attacking stats, 115 on attack and 125 in special attack. It can also nasty plot up to boost that further. It's got a fantastic move pool. Moves like Hurricane, Air Slash, Heat Wave, Focus Blast. I believe it gets Grass Knot, Psychic, Sludge Wave, Dark Pulse. It's got a great move pool. It also has solid physical move pool. Stuff like U-Turn for pivoting, Knockoff for utility. Gets moves like Crunch, Hammer Arm, Acrobatics if I wanted to run something like a no item set. And then it's also got Defog, which is fantastic for this team. I don't have removal yet. It also has the Prankster ability, so I can fire off some Prankster Defogs. If I'm in Psychic Surge, I won't be able to do that, but I can run something like Defiant if I'm really concerned about that to bypass that. And with the heavy-duty boots, it's a fantastic user of Defog. Can come in, remove those hazards, pivot out with U-Turn into something like Urshifu or Aegis, put on a ton of pressure again. So I'm very excited to use Tornadus. I haven't used the Incarnate form yet. I've used Tornadus Therian, and that was a blast. So I'm very much looking forward to Torn over here. And so at this point in the draft, I've been burning through points. I need some more removal. I need some more pivoting to help out my big attackers. And I want an electric type. Electric type is huge in draft. So for only 4 points, I thought this was, again, a kind of a steal. I decided to go with Rotom Frost. I'm very excited to use Rotom Frost. It's the only Rotom form I believe I haven't used yet. This thing is fantastic. 105 special attack and 86 speed is fantastic with a Bolt Beam Stab. I mean, granted, it is Blizzard. I gotta hit it first, but still, in theory, it's fantastic. And then base 107 and 107, and defense and special defense with 50 HP is not fantastic, and its defensive typing is nothing to write home about. However, it is a very good mon, especially for only 4 points. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, and Blizzard all hit very hard. It can get moves like Shadow Ball, Hex, Dark Pulse for some additional coverage, and they can obviously run moves like Defog to remove hazards. It can Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split for a little bit of annoyance, and then run Nasty Plot very well in conjunction with Dual Stab, something like that. So very excited for Rotom Frost. It gives me another ground immunity to help out stuff like Aegis Slash and Gigalith, although I don't want to take a Stone Edge or anything. So very excited to use Rotom Frost. I have pretty high hopes for it. Its main job, again, like Tornadus, generate momentum for the big four. Because when those things are on the field, there's not a whole lot my opponent can do. So moving on from here, I wanted a little bit more speed because so far, except for Vish and Sand and Torn, my team is fairly slow. So I wanted to capitalize on that, or fix that rather, and round out my Firewater Grass Core. So I decided to go with Rapidash. Rapidash is a really cool mon. Base 105 speed and 100 attack is nothing to sneeze at. Moves like Flare Blitz, High Horsepower, Wild Charge, Poison Jab, and Mega Horn, they're all going to be hitting very, very hard. It can also Swords Dance up, which is fantastic. It can Morning Sun for recovery. In Sand, that'll definitely be neutered, so I have to watch out for that. It can also Will-O-Wisp and also has the Flame Body ability to spread some status, which is an option I really like. So I'm very excited to use Rapidash. It's a cool, just little fire type for only 3 points. It does the job I need it to do. Can spread some status, generate some offensive pressure. So very excited for Rapidash. The Flash Fire ability is fantastic. Gives me a fire immunity to help out Moongus and Aegis Slash and those guys. So super stoked about this. And then moving on from here, I only had a few points left. I definitely wanted some more hazard control. I only have 1 Stealth Rocker at this point in time, and 2 removers who are pretty solid, but oftentimes want to run offensive sets. So I went ahead and grabbed Sand Slash. Sand Slash is a great little bulky ground type. 75 HP and 110 defense is very, very solid. Moves like Earthquake hit pretty hard, Knock Off, Rock Slide. And then it also gets Stealth Rocks and Rapid Spin, which is fantastic for my team because I was lacking some hazard control. So Sand Slash kind of does it all. It also gives me a secondary Sand Rusher in case I don't want to bring Drakofish for some reason. If I think, that the team is very, very ground weak or something. Maybe like a Life Orb, Sand Rush, Sand Slash would be pretty cool. So I'm really hoping that might do some work. But otherwise, his job, set some hazards, remove some hazards. Just be a bulky ground type, great rock resist this thing. It works very well with a Moongus eating up, the water and grass type hits that Sand Slash doesn't want to take. So I'm pretty stoked about Sand Slash. I haven't used it before, but it looks really, really cool. So moving on from here, again, I only had a few points left. I believe I only had 4 points. I wanted some wish passing actions since I didn't get the Regenerator I really wanted. I definitely also wanted a Cleric. I didn't have one of those yet. So I decided to go with Lickitung. It was only 1 point, and it's a fantastic Eviolite user. Base 90 HP is fantastic and 75 in both defenses. With Eviolite, it's incredibly bulky. It passes off big wishes. It can Heal Bell, and then it has very consistent damage with Seismic Toss. It is a pretty solid move pool, stuff like Knockoff. I believe it gets like Ice Beam, stuff like that. So if I wanted to run something jank with Lickitung, I totally could. It's got the Oblivious ability, which means I can't be taunted. Being able to throw off some Fat Wishes and Heal Bell in front of a taunt is fantastic. Or if I don't want to take Sandstorm Chip from Gigalith, I can run something like Cloud9. I believe that's how Cloud9 works. So I can keep myself as healthy as possible. It is fairly passive besides Seismic Toss, but otherwise, Mr. Owl's job over here is just to, pass some wishes, heal up the team, and just generally provide support. And then last but not least, with my last pick, I had a bit of a fire weakness, a bit of an ice weakness, and I wanted a little bit more hazard control. So for only 3 points, I thought it was a pretty good steal. I went with Omastar. Omastar is a really cool mon. It's obviously a Shell Smash sweeper, so it's a very big threat with moves like Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Ancient Power. After a Shell Smash, it's very, very threatening. But it also has some pretty good utility. It gets moves like Scald, obviously, to spread some burns. And then it gets all 3 hazard moves. It gets Stealth Rock, Spikes, and Toxic Spikes. So I can do a little bit of hazard stack with Fraldarius, or just, feign like I'm going to set up a Shell Smash, then get up a layer of Toxic Spikes, which should be really helpful for something like Urshifu or Lele or Vish in the late game. So any residual chip for those 4 is going to make it incredibly easy to just kind of maul through teams. So I'm very excited about Omastar. Gives me a secondary water, which is cool. So if I want to bring offensive, Omastar, I can run defensive Drakofish. So I really like having that option of dual waters. It also gives me a more offensive rock type, just because Gigalith is so slow and probably is going to be pigeonholed into that defensive role. So that's the team we've got this season. I'm really, really excited of how this came out. Again, I think I would have liked a little bit more hazard control, maybe a little bit more bulk. But at this point, who am I kidding? The front 4 that I've got are absolute monsters. It's going to be so hard to prep for every single week. And so if I can win in prep, I think I'm going to be just A-okay for this league. I'm very, very excited with the team. So leave a like if you enjoyed the team. Leave a like if you enjoyed the breakdown. Drop a comment saying your favorite mon, who you think is going to be the kill leader. I don't know about the kill leader. We got a very strong squad. Vish obviously has the potential to pick up some big kills. Same with Urshifu. So with that out of the way, that's the team we're rocking with. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep an eye out for ISL playoffs. Those will be happening soon. And then we've got the SDF draft that's going on. So be on the lookout for the draft breakdown for that league as well. And UBL obviously is just chugging along. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.